bronche. That's how we say brunch.
Here's to the ladies who say basic with their lunch. Be a queen.
Be a boss.
Ladies who brunch and pop it off.
Hey, we pop and pop it off. We pop.
All right. The episode's about to start.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Ladies Who Bronche. I am Julissa.
What's good, everybody? This is Skittles.
And this week, repping Florida. Repping Florida today? Or repping the Bronx today?
No, we're up in New York.
Repping New
All
York.
right, repping New York. Repping New York.
Latinos on the East Coast.
All right, repping East Coast Latinos.
Yes.
Our radio queen, ya tu sabes, JAYLAH. Who the fuck are you?
What's up? It's your girl.
Bow, bow, bow. Bow, bow, bow. Give us our. I want you to give us the whole spiel.
spiel?
Yeah, give it to us right now.
Because I was going to say I like tacos too. No. So I am a Costa Rican Salvadorian radio personality, model, mom, daughter, friend.
Bad bitch.
Event manager,
lady who brunches.
like, you name it, and I'm here for it. Let's get to work.
Yeah,
Corresponding, blogging, social media, comedy skits, whatever gets the bills paid.
That's right.
Yes,
That's
yes. And it's so funny how we all met. We all met at Hispanicize 2019. We were just, kikiing or whatever. And you just so happened to just be moving to New York.
I literally look like the bag lady in LA.
Yeah.
I look crazy coming into LA. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go present this award and I'm nominated. I'm going over there. I'm not missing this weekend just because I have to change my whole life and move to New York for ever and leave my kid behind. No, I'm just going to go look like the bag lady, like the crazy bag lady with my coats and all my jackets to go to LA and just have one tiny dress to wear. But yeah, I packed up 4 maletas and I just went to LA and crashed with one of my friends.
Wow.
And then I had to be in New York to start my show by Monday.
Yeah.
So, and Hispanicize was till basically
Was till Sunday. Yeah, it was till Sunday night.
And then I got here, landed at JFK, and my friends were like, "Oh, let's go brunch." I was like,
Bitch, right away.
well, all right, I guess, with my maletas, is there a coat check for this?
Yes, just started off
Make it
right.
happen.
Started off your time right.
New York City, city of dreams. So tell us a little bit about where your love for, because you do, like you listed, you do a whole lot of shit, but where did your passion for, because I think of our mediums as storytelling, right? Whether we're creating it beforehand or we're doing it in the moment, we're telling stories and we're connecting with people. Where did your love for storytelling and connection come from?
Honestly, I think the older I get, the more my daddy issues come out.
Mm-hmm.
This being said, I think that my original connection to what is music, what got me into radio, what got me into all of that has been the culture. A lot of it is, especially with my dad. My mom and dad are very different people. I feel like that's why I relate so much to Dominicans, because I feel in Costa Rica, we're the Central American Dominicans. Right. We like to party the same and drink the same and compartir con familia the same. There's a lot of similarities, whether it's dancing or, I remember growing up hearing my dad tell me stories about how him and my aunt used to go to dance competitions together, and they would be partners, and they would do salsa and cumbia and old school, music. And my uncle was always a dancer, so a lot of my family, we grew up with the house parties. We grew up with the comidas and the marisco on the day after New Year because everybody was hungover. And the kids be having to hide in the room, and I'd be the one, because I was one of the older cousins in the second set of generation. So I'd be I wanted to be with the adults, but I also wanted to be with my little cousins. They didn't call me Angelica Pickles for no reason.
Yes, Angelica Pickles.
I was the older prima. I was y'all doing what I say. Okay, you're gonna be Ken. You're gonna be Ken, and we're playing Barbies. But I grew up with a lot of that bilingual culture. My parents being Central American, again, my mom was super strict. She's the baby of 8 on the Salvadorian side, and they all live down the street. They're all very, very Central American.
Yeah.
You know, my mom it was weird for them because my mom married out of her country, you know, so her marrying a Costa Rican, even though he's Central American, was horrible. God forbid dating out of color, dating out of race. Like, it's just, it's a lie, and it's very real. So I grew up very mixed cultural. And I feel like that's why, for me, even though I was born in New York, I was born in Long Island, my parents took me to Florida very quickly. And they very much tried to keep me away and protect me from all of this. But my life and soul...
That seems like the story. I feel like I have cousins that have that same story. Not to cut you off. Keep going. I'm sorry.
and it's not, again, it's part of, I feel like, it's part of what they thought were breaking cycles at their time. Just like for us, breaking cycles is doing the mixed race, is being exclusive, is being loving to all. Doesn't matter what gender, what this, who you like, who sexually you like. You know, you know, I had my husband, literally my ex-husband, throw out my life to my parents. He outed me. You know, and that... I don't feel like that's fair, and a lot of it had to do more, you know, there's a lot of things in my career. I would be a lot farther if I didn't have the morals, ethics, and foundations that I do have. As I get older, I try to shake them off. But I was telling somebody on my life today, yo, my mom be yelling at me. She be looking at my IG, and the next morning be like, yo te dije que por eso estás enferma, por eso estás cansada, ¿verdad? Porque usted no para. You drink, you go here, you never stop, you never rest, you da-da-da-da-da. And it's always like, But those are, again, it's part of the learning process. It's part of life. It's part of growth. It's part of even being and understanding self-love, you know, and figuring out kind of how to navigate through all of that. And for me, it's always been weird because of my Central Americanism. I've never really fit in because I grew up with Colombians. I grew up, you know, then I gravitated towards Dominicans, but then they would look at me and be like, why do you sound Dominican, but you're not Dominican, you're a fake Dominican? And I was like, I'm not trying to be fake nothing, but it's the one thing I can relate to. And a lot of people just can't understand fitting in when you're out of culture. Especially because I do not relate to a lot of my, like, even my own people, because I didn't grow up necessarily that way. I did grow up with so many cultures. My godparents are Colombian. You know, I have other people that I grew up. My best friend's Brazilian. Like, you know, like, and
you
where
just the
I
whole
live, where I live, there were Brazilians, Colombians, and we would do international festivals. And that's where I learned about Dominicans. That's where I learned about this. A Colombian man taught me how to dance bachata. Imagínate eso.
Like,
you know what I'm saying? And bachata is my favorite genre, and I dance it and I throw down, and I've thrown down with the best of them. And I'm not, like, I've been called fake a lot. I've been called, oh, you're this, or you act like you're that. And I don't act like anything. I am who I am because I have been it's like having a caldero and just throwing all of that shit.
All the good shit.
All of it. All of it. You
shit.
throw adobo, you throw carne, you throw pollo, you que aquí, que allá, que tarara. And I feel like for me, that's who I am. I'm a Latina. Yes, I'm very proud of my Costa Rican culture. Yes, I'm extremely proud of my Salvadorian culture. I talk about all of it. But I'm also proud of all of my other Latinos because I feel that in a weird way, we've all struggled in similar ways in just different, like love languages.
Oof. Listen, you are preaching to something that I often talk about. So, like, I didn't have that much of a spread in the diaspora in terms of, like, engaging it necessarily often. But, like, from my dad's side of the family, one of his cousins had married a Colombian dude. And so every time it was their daughter's birthday and we'd be at the birthday parties, it was a lot more Colombiano than it was Dominican. And that was because that cousin was, like, always felt like Dominicans were less classy than los Colombianos, so it'd be like, okay, we're around los Colombianos, like, get in line.
Like, así.
And you know,
very like this. And again, that's why I feel like I'm very Dominicanized. Like all of the guys I dated, except for my ex-husband, was Dominican.
Girl, how'd you manage? Because I can't with Dominican.
Listen, I'm gonna be very, very, very honest with you. It's one word and one word only. masoquista.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm convinced.
Why I went straight to the
masochista.
dick? I went straight to the dick. I was like, it's
the dick.
Again, that's part of being a masochista.
Right, that's
though.
part of
Like,
it. Yeah.
Be real.
No, it's true. But like, no, but so what I'm saying essentially is that like we as Latinos, we have so many commonalities, and it's like to the rest of the world, they think, oh, you speak Spanish, boop, you're all the same thing, and they blanket us. But amongst each other, there's so many layers and colors, and we don't often have the opportunity to really dig deep and learn more about each other's culture and the love and the nuances in that. And I think as a New Yorker, I'm privileged. I say that all the time. When I go to LA, especially, I'm like, holy shit, why do I keep having to just explain what a Dominican is? That makes no sense to me. It actually freaks me out when people say, oh, would you ever move to LA? Like, you know, big dream, blah, blah, blah. Big dream of what? To be out there, like, isolated?
Everybody, you know what everybody tells
me?
me? You're Salvadorian. They love you out here. I'm like, yeah, but that's that culture, that West Coast, that they're completely different culture than we are in the East Coast.
Yes.
We are, I don't care who you could live in Queens and Jackson Heights and live in the most Colombian spot in the world. You could live in the Bronx and the most Dominican spot in the world. You can live in El Barrio and have the most Puerto Rican spot in the world. But at the end of the day, you have always been exposed to other people.
Yep.
Always.
Yep.
And we take that very much for granted as New Yorkers.
Yes, we
because
do.
I'm telling you, as a Floridian, where I grew up, there was not that exposure.
Yeah.
There was not that. That's why I feel like I always gravitated towards New York.
Yeah.
Because I will tell JAYLAH was created and reborn in New York. Period. This is where I was born. I was born in New York. I developed my self-love. I developed my wanting to break cycles. I developed my dream of wanting and feeling like you can actually do more.
Yes.
This is the only place in the world I feel you can walk out of a dirty ass, pissed, rat-infested subway
Word.
and walk out into a ball of energy.
Yeah.
Go to a restaurant, a bar, a deli down the street, and that one person you met in line paying for it can change your entire life.
Yep. Yep.
Or you get the energy you never thought you expected or needed after a really crappy day.
Yeah.
You don't know. This is the city of magic. This is literally adult Disney World.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. You know.
It's funny. Like, I feel like
Thank
being
you.
people that grew up here, like, me and Julissa have a certain, I definitely have that love for New York, and being from here, you have a love for New York, but hearing it so, like, articulated from someone who was here and then left is like, it brings a certain appreciation.
This is literally, I feel like, my third time's a charm. Because I've been back and forth since 2012. And I was here, I just moved back 4 months ago. I was here before that from August of 2018 until May of 2019, where I finally threw up the white flag and I was like, I can't do this. I was actually working Lyft in New Jersey.
Girl, no way.
After 10 years of 11 years of being in this game, not being in a space, being in a state of depression, being in a state where my energy was so shitty, I couldn't even attract a job. And I was interviewing with the best of the best. I'm talking about the best companies in this world, where I was flabbergasted. But the depression, the mental health, the separation, the divorce, the being a single mom, the going through all of this and feeling so alone and feeling so hurt and only wanting something so bad that I couldn't attain, that it wasn't right. And I finally threw the white flag up, unfortunately, after going through some domestic violence in January of 2019. And it was very life-changing for so many reasons. I was already separated from that person. I was already living a separate life. They chased me. It was so toxic, and I just felt like I couldn't get out of it. And when I finally had to set that reset button,
Right.
Wow.
and it wasn't about me at that time. At that time, my daughter had seen all of that.
It's your daughter.
And she was 3 years old. And to have to take her home and give, essentially, showing my parents they were right. Like, You know, everybody wants me to be in Florida. I own my house in Florida. I've had a house for 12 years. I have no reason to be struggling paying rent in New York City.
Right.
I have a car in Florida that's sitting there that I still got to pay for.
Yeah.
I have a mortgage. I have that. I have my family down the street that will take care of my daughter. And why? I'm, again, masochista. I want to come and live my dream.
Yeah.
I want to break those cycles. I want to take that American dream that my parents came to these countries for to the next level.
Yeah.
My dad hates his job. Every day he wakes up saying how much he hates his job, but he loves the money it makes him to provide for his family. And you know what? You know what's crazy? That my job now is to do what I love to do every day, but pay my bills, get that mortgage, pay that college, get that trust fund started.
Hell yeah. Trust fund.
Trust fund.
That's what
I'm trying to have trust fund.
I grew up in Boca Raton, Florida. All my friends, all the girls in my class were little Brittany, little Brittany switching her hair over here, talk about their trust funds and how they don't need nothing. The first Hummer ever on the street was in my high school. My high school for a 16-year-old. Their BMWs, their Mercedes, things I have not yet even come close to.
Right.
And I'm here fighting for different priorities.
Right.
Instead of getting that Porsche, I'm going to go get that house.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to see my asset, but I know what I've worked for.
Right. Girl, let me tell you something. Woo, first of all, you deserve
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a lady who brunches.
Right. A lady who
a lady who fucking does everything.
And thank you so much for sharing all of that, because I do think, and we'll talk about this a little later, but sometimes people see the positions or where you've come and they meet you like at the middle of the mountain or the top of the mountain of a specific journey, and they're like, oh yeah, you had it all, it came easy, and they perceive you to be the little Britneys and stuff that, you know, you grew up around, and you're like, no, do you understand?
Thanks, social media.
Right, social media.
It's a love and hate, but right now we live in and I've been saying this for at least 3 years, solid. The last 3 years have been an unfortunate series of events of perception.
Yes.
People's perceptions of what people's lives are. I've heard some of the most successful, hardworking, amazing, I wish I would have their live individuals. And to hear them say, I haven't done this, or I haven't been this happy in this amount of years, or I haven't, don't believe what you see. It really is real. Yeah. The perception game right now is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's really sucks because I feel like it takes away from a lot of the work that people have been doing.
Right. Right. Yeah. No, it's difficult. Perception is not always reality.
Definitely not.
All right, JAYLAH. So when you out with the girls at brunch and shit, what's your choice beverage? What are you drinking?
I'm not going to lie. So I have 2 drinks, and one is safer than the other.
Okay.
The second one probably gets me in the most trouble of them all.
Okay.
So I'm not your normal girl. I love mimosas. They're all cute and dandy and bubbly.
Right.
Cool. Let's be real.
It's juice.
It's juice. It's like beer. I don't drink beer. It gets me gassy.
Right.
I don't like all that.
Right.
I like to get straight to the point, and I like to get saucy.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to be safe, if I'm trying to last a little longer, I feel like a man trying to take Viagra.
If you're pacing yourself,
if I'm pacing myself, it's going to be some Jameson straight on the rocks with
for brunch
with limon, and you can put a little champagne in there too. It makes it bubbly.
You know what it is?
I drink like a man. I'm sorry.
I think that's what it is. It's like I feel like Jameson seems so strong for brunch, but if that's what you're doing, I want to do it too. So fuck it up.
You know
we
why?
Will not
because
make it
you
to
can
the
make
meal.
it you
We're
can do Jameson with passion fruit juice and some limon. The limon kills the harshness of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I put limon in everything. If you can literally my first request when I get you're asking for a bottle, forget the bottle. Get me a cup of limon, and then whatever bottle you get me, that will work.
Right.
I will make it work.
Right.
So for me, limon is my weapon of choice.
Yes.
Limon
Smart
is
girl.
my key. It's my secret. If my drink doesn't have a limon in it, I am not okay.
Yeah.
Something is wrong. If I don't have a limon in my drink, it's like today is an exception to the
Right.
rule.
Sorry.
Okay,
I
my
didn't
bad.
know. Yeah, I'm sitting here like, shit, where's the limon at?
Don't play, because normally I bring my own limon. That's right. No, and then I do really, really, really like passion fruit honey mimosas.
Ooh, I've never had that.
Really?
That sounds
Does that still have
delicious.
champagne in it?
A dash. It has like a sprinkle. So like
Just for
the
bubbles.
champagne is like the ginger ale.
Right.
So like,
Okay.
you know, if you were like have honey and ginger.
Right.
So you do the champagne. And then you mostly do like passion fruit, and then you add like a drip of limon, and you're good to go.
That's
Okay.
lit. I
That's
like
one of
that.
my like
Definitely
mommies and
gotta try
mimosas type of vibes.
Okay. Yeah, no, we're going to have to try
Yes.
that. We're going to have to try that.
That's
Yes.
All right, so
that's the
we're-
JAYLAH. That's the
That's the
JAYLAH
JAYLAH.
mimosa.
Yeah, if we're sipping our JAYLAH mimosas, which we definitely have to get like the ingredients and do a little
Yeah.
like thing for
Taste
our-
testers?
Yes.
Taste testers. I want to try that.
You know
I've
the- you know what
never
the
been like a
problem
big honey
is?
person, but like I could fuck with honey in the right combination.
That's how I made my
Yeah.
daughter. A whole lot of Hennessy. Thank you, Uptown. Thank you,
Yes,
the Bronx.
Uptown.
Yep.
All day.
Thank you, honey. That's why I have a beautiful 5-year-old now.
There you go.
So we have our honey mimosas. What are you choosing to drink? What is your go-to
Eat.
brunch plate?
Eat.
You said what
Look at
he
me.
did.
Eat.
Too much.
Actually, my favorite brunch meal, like now that I think about it, because I've been to a lot of brunches, and every time I go to a brunch, like I'm always like, I'm going to eat this. And then I always end up with the same thing. Huevos rancheros.
Huevos rancheros.
I love that's the
Good
central.
choice.
That
It's
is
a
the
good
Central
choice.
American side of me, because it's like una tostada, tiene frijoles, un queso, like un huevo, like el queso encima, aguacate. Like it's a
Yes.
mix of like literally all my worlds.
Yes.
And if you're doing like, especially if you're going uptown, it doesn't taste like a regular Central American one.
Right.
It tastes like some like Dominican.
I was just about to say,
like
'cause the
huevo
Dominicans
ranchero,
go
like,
in-
I got like all the
Yeah.
best worlds in one.
Yes.
So huevo rancheros is my go-to.
I love that. So, tell us a little bit about what it was like going out to eat when you were a kid.
Special occasions is the first thing that comes to mind.
Always, yeah.
Because that's the only time we would really go out to eat.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was
I spilled my drink. I'm
and
sorry. No, I have to say it because
I was- no,
the,
I
the
know.
camera
I
was watching
spilled
it
it.
happen.
I spilled it in. Spilled it in. Guys.
I'm like party fouling in the corner. I felt bad because the conversation's happening and
I
like,
literally see all I see behind
me,
you is
like,
Skittles doing.
Isn't that the worst when it happens in front of a really cute boy though?
You'll be like acting tough, like I got this drink. Yeah, that's me. I'm clumsy.
No, babe,
Yeah.
not you ain't cute. My experience is actually, and it's really funny because I have a really fond love for. I remember growing up. So my dad is super Costa Rican, which means he cannot have any of his food without rice.
He's
But-
like a Dominican.
But here's the catch: white rice doesn't count.
Oh,
What? It has to be
No.
yellow?
I'm not talking about Latino white rice. I'm talking about white people rice. We was not allowed.
I was like, wait, it always has to be yellow?
because it
No. If I were to tell him, yo, papi, pero at Fridays,
Oh no.
you know, Applebee's tienen arroz, he'd be like, ese arroz de gringo, de que viene en una bolsa, usted está loca. So our options always kind of really went from like Spanish food to like Chinese food.
Wow.
Because it had rice.
Right.
So like one of the biggest issues we always had was like, you know, we'd be leaving church or we'd be doing like, I think we finally found a medium ground, like
Right.
a middle ground. And it was Chili's.
Wow.
And it was after his stomach surgery. And that
Now
was
I
like his middle
weirdly
ground.
want to go to Chili's and order rice.
No, because he didn't eat rice at that point now anymore.
Oh.
We were having some fajitas or fajitas.
Fajitas?
Fajitas.
Vaginas.
Because, you know, that's how they would order it. Some fajitas at Chili's. But actually, you know, now that we've gotten older and we kind of settled the piece on that. Because
Yeah.
I remember at one point where it was like, Chinese food for fulanita. I did a huge, I don't tell people this often because I feel very un-Latina.
Uh-oh.
I did a protest for 5 years when I was younger because my dad would only like to eat red meat and rice, Latino rice. So we could not go anywhere that didn't have that.
He wouldn't
So-
eat chicken?
No, like for him, it was just like él quería carne, él quería bistec, churrasco, T-bone. Like, él quería carne. My dad's a manly man.
Right.
So, of course, me being the masochista rebel that I am, totally protested. So I was like, I didn't eat rice for 5 years.
Wow.
No rice. 0 rice.
Wow.
And I had no red meat. So I'm very much accustomed to only fish, turkey, and chicken.
Yeah.
And even like because I'm Salvadorian, it wasn't hard for me because for us, our alternative is tortillas. I grew up watching my grandparents only eat con tortillas.
Yeah.
Even they would eat their arroz con tortilla. Like they would like
Really?
scoop up the rice with the tortilla. My abuelo would sit there as I like sat there and cried while I put my feet up because the chickens were running on the floor. And I have such a bird phobia that he'd be scooping up and I'd be like, yo, he's not even using a fork. What a G.
Wow.
Yo.
That's some real shit.
You know, so like
Honestly.
I'm very used to eating with my hand. Like I'm very like
Yes.
handsy.
Yes.
Might not always be a good thing with
Does
some. Well, it might not be a good thing with some Henny and your
Like the
system.
Addams family.
I mean, that might be the best thing, in my opinion. I'm just trying to say, like, this Jameson is getting me. I think this might be the drunkest I've ever been on a Ladies Who episode.
Don't say that.
It's fine.
Mind you, we've only had 2 drinks. Let me at least put this out there.
But 2 like drinks.
Like,
Drinks.
tragos,
Tragos.
bitch, tragos.
All right. So, what is your favorite bochincha topic to talk about over a meal?
Boys.
Boys.
Always.
I am.
Let's get into it.
I will always say this. Man, my dad is the love of my life. But in the same token, and we were talking about this off air kind of a little bit, like spirits and like past lives and stuff like that. I'm truly like, literally like my dad is the love of my life. Like, I truly like, he's my everything. I can't even imagine being without him.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because we've both separately been told that we've been together in past lives.
Aww.
So, like, I've been his mom. He's now my dad.
Wow.
We've been together in a relationship.
Wow.
And the fact that he loves my daughter the way he does, I get so jealous to another point, to another level,
Wow.
where I literally fight my kid.
Wow.
Like, we are like, yo, I'm like, can you let me talk to my dad? Like I'm in New York. Like, I miss you both, but like,
Let me talk to
that's
him.
my dad and you're my daughter and I love you both, but like,
Separate. Yeah.
like,
yeah.
stop it. And they love each other so much
beautiful.
that it's so beautiful and hurtful
At the same time.
I'm like, Daddy, love me. You know, like, but it's a good thing. Like, I'm really happy. I'm very blessed that I have that.
Right.
You know, and like, even like I told you guys earlier, you know, my ex-husband tried to out me. So he told my family, he sent my mom a picture of me and another girl kissing.
Wow.
Like, it was so
Oh,
bad.
wow. You meant out like that?
What you thought she meant out?
Yeah, no, I
thought you
and I
meant
don't
out
talk
in
about
terms
it.
of
No,
like...
and I
thought
don't
you
talk
meant-
about it
yeah.
often. I think, and I don't do it not because I'm ashamed of who I am, because the people who are very close to me
Know who you are, yeah.
They're very...
Almost too much. Dije, almost too much.
That's
Me
why I
pasé.
drink JMO and Henny, depending on the evening.
Wow.
But certain things do certain situations. And even when I met my ex-husband, he knew that. But I've always, again, been so respectful, and I put other people's feelings in front of my
First.
own.
Yeah.
My daughters, my ex-husbands. Even now, we're not together, and it's not... Yo, I can't stand him, but I still have to respect him as the father of my daughter, and that's really difficult to have to navigate through. You know, it's difficult to navigate through 2 completely different sets of parents.
Yeah.
You know, traditions, parents, people, situations, what people perceive of you in the
Yeah.
industry. You know, so it's like, it's hard. Like, do I smoke hookah on camera? Do I put out that I like girls? I, you know, do my recreational activities there? Do I drink too much? I have people hit me up today, big plus male models, be like, yo, I love when you're lit because there's a side of you and a spirit of you that comes out that we don't get to see very often. Yeah. And that's really hard because I hide that from my family. Yeah. Because I don't want them to hurt. I don't want them to think that I'm disrespecting their people, their legacy, that last name. Yeah. And it's really, really, really hard to pick and choose what battles I'm okay with. Yeah. Girl. Because at the end of the day, there's sometimes I just want to be like, bueno, it's my life. Let me be me.
Yep. Listen, and I truly, truly relate to that. I think that, like, just as Latinas, like, there's often times where you are put in the position where you have to carry the name or the tradition on your back, and like that generational shit. It's like, so we both, all three of us, fuck with Vida. Spiritual shout out to Readings by Vida. You know, and like, as she's working on some shit for me right now, thank you. So like, I like with her, I've been trying to really unlearn a lot of that shit because I'm very like ride or die when it comes to things that have to be like, I'm a rebel, but at the same time, if there's a structure that I believe needs to be upheld, I get very anal about upholding that shit. So I totally relate to that. But I want to circle back, you know, to talking about the boys, because even in like my relationship with how I am as a straight woman, like this feeling of like, oh, talking about dick and sucking this and doing that and da, da, like it feels like it's a dishonor, but to my family. But then when I look at the larger world, I'm like, pero Julissa, girls in the world need girls like you to be that bold and to be able to it's not turning your back on your family, but being able to say, family, you need to trust and believe that what you gave me is the platform that's building for me to do this thing. It's not a topic you care for, and it's not something that is within your taste, but those tools that you gave me to be the powerful bitch that I am is what I'm going to do so that generations later on don't have to worry about esa vergüenza. It shouldn't be vergüenza, right? Yeah. But somebody has to step out. But it's such a challenge because I say that now, but in the moment, like if my mom was sitting in this room the whole time we've been here, you think I would have said something about dick once?
Never. No.
Once I wouldn't even said the word dick.
And I think it's part of like
my mother and where I don't. And that's why her watching my IG, sometimes I'm like, well, it's literally it's like a catch-22. Yeah. I feel like I'm teaching her in a way.
Right.
Yes.
Without having to tell her face to face. Yeah. But at the same time, it's still a certain level of disrespect to her. Right. Yeah. Like right now, my grandma died almost, it'll be 2 years around my birthday. And she died the day before my birthday. Ugh. No, the day after my birthday. She waited for me to have my birthday. And I love you, Nana, and I'm so, like, I've never missed her more than I miss her now. And I know what in my Salvadorian life, what that means. They don't even wear colors. Wow. For years. Wow. Because it's disrespectful to mourn in color. Wow. And here I am. They don't listen to music. They don't wear color. Wow. They don't do certain things. They go to novenas. They go every 6 months. Like, they have their traditions. That I think they're beautiful traditions. And I give them a lot of respect for even fulfilling those traditions in the type of world that we live in right now. Yeah. And it's, where do I fight in that in-between of wanting to keep them and then being realistic with, man, that's not who I am. Right. Because I wanted literally to do the complete opposite. Yeah. I wanted to go get drunk and lit and party and dance and celebrate my grandma. Right. But to them, that's disrespect. Right. Ugh. So how do you find those middle grounds in that tradition? You know, there's going to have to be a day that I have to tell my daughter, like, hey, baby, your mom, as much as most 80, I will say 70%, I'm straight. 30, I'm very bi. And then the other side of me, I'm fighting my tradition.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you find that balance for you to be you?
You. Yeah.
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 But how do I get that open-minded for you, fighting my own traditions, who I actually am,
Mm-hmm.
whether I can come to terms with that person or not, because it's hard coming to terms with that person.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard having to tell the people in your life how real you really are. Like,
Yeah.
I literally looked at my dad. My
Girl.
dad, and I'm probably going to regret saying this, but my dad had to look at me and said, hey, I did X, Y, and Z. I'm sorry for hurting you guys.
Right.
And I had to look at him and say, listen, you're the love of my life. I love you. I'm hurt by what you did to us. Pero this is also who I am.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then to get, like, I understand you. And he's like, how do you understand me? I'm like, well, if you're telling me that this is your issue, you're telling me, este tu vicio.
Right.
And here I am saying, like, damn, I really understand.
Right.
I really get that you,
Yeah.
like, I get why you think women are so beautiful and gorgeous and you're attracted and you're this and you're that. And it's really hard to have to come in that middle ground with all of that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, are you betraying your mother? Are you betraying your father? Who are you? Are you betraying yourself as a human being? But this is
Right.
really all about breaking those cycles.
Yep.
And it's really scary. You know, I've said it before, and it's really scary. This is the first time I think I've ever said this publicly, where I've had little situations and niches where I've realized that my daughter could probably go the other way.
Mm.
And how am I going to teach my family? Me and her will navigate through this smoothly.
Right, smooth,
I have
yeah.
no problems.
Mm.
It's not about that. It's about changing and breaking cycles in our community, in our family, in our world.
Yeah. Girl.
And I've had to say that. I remember the first time I walked out of a bathroom with my daughter at Disney World, and my daughter goes, I said, ¿Qué pasó? Like, are you okay? Mama. I said, what? She's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And as a woman, I felt that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And those are things we're not allowed to talk about.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah. Yep.
You can't talk about that. I can't talk about that with my family. I can't
Right.
talk about that with my mother. I can talk about it in a platform, but even then, you're so scared to talk about it because people automatically, perception.
Yep. They put you in a box that means all these things, and then that's what you are. Ooh, cycles.
Breaking cycles.
Breaking
That's literally been my life goal
cycles.
since my daughter was born.
Yeah. No, and it for a lot of us, like parents, non-parents, all sorts of things, we have to fight for it for the future period, whether it's somebody in your lineage or just the better health of the overall world. So, yeah, girl.